Yo, what's going on, everybody? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. I got a new PC this week, so I'm just not sure if everything's set up correctly. Yes, yes. Okay, perfect. All right. What a day today. I'm just going to give it like another 30 seconds to a minute for the rest of the gang to roll in, and then we'll get started with the stream. So just sit tight. Almost ready. What's the difference between Meltup and MOAS? That's actually a great question. Meltup is a vicious 2 to 3 week upside move where price, 3, 4, 5, 7 X's in a very short period of time. MOAS is a Reddit theory where shorts are essentially infinitely trapped in the stock after illegally naked shorting past the number of shares that exist, assuming price would head into bankruptcy. And therefore, the MOAS thesis is that if shorts were ever forced to cover their positions, it would infinitely push up the stock. That's a thesis on Reddit. What I'm calling for is simply a 2 to 3 week Meltup. Price triples, quadruples, 5, 6, 7 X's. Great chance to make a lot of money on options, and then probably a nice retracement. That's what I was calling for. All right. I think people probably have joined the stream by now. I'm just going to retweet it one more time just in case anyone missed it, and then we'll get started. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. Got a lot to talk about today. All right, so by now, if you've been watching the streams, you probably know that I've come to the conclusion that that the GME runs are actually related to the crypto cycles. And I covered this in the last stream. These red lines here are the crypto halving events. And I showed how from the crypto halving until the Meltup was about 247 days or so. And I said I believe we're going to see the same exact thing this halving, where price starts to melt up about, let's just call it 245 days. So yeah, like somewhere around December 20th. That's been my thesis for about the past month already. And in all my past streams, I've been talking about this. And so definitely encouraging to see price start to climb as we get near that volatility range, because again, that's really what we saw here in 2020 leading into 2021. So yeah, the crypto halving and things were flat for a bit, and then price started to ascend higher. Got the bullish weekly trigger, monthly trigger crossover, and that led right into the Meltup. And you could see the date of that first big green candle, that huge, what was it, like a 200% move or 100% move or something? That came just about 247 days after the halving. And so I do believe that GME is lining up for the very same thing here. Sometime in like the third week of December, I assume price is going to start to ramp up into the Meltup that we've been calling for. Now, it's very important to just show the kind of similarities that we saw in the last Meltup and compare it to what we've been seeing now. So as everybody who's been a loyal follower of the Meltup movement knows, that for the past 6 months or so, I've been calling for the weekly trigger, monthly trigger crossover, which is this dark blue line right here, and the purple line is the monthly trigger, blue is the weekly trigger. And I said once they cross over bullishly, meaning the weekly trigger crossing above the monthly trigger, that's when I think will start to ramp up into the melt up. And I've been saying that ever since that first move back in May. So way back in May, when GME started popping, a lot of people were calling for a squeeze. I said, nope, I don't think we're going to have a squeeze until the weekly trigger crosses above the monthly trigger. And then, as you guys know, we went through some agonizingly painful months where the weekly trigger was so close to crossing. I mean, if you look how ridiculous this is, from September 3rd all the way until November 8th, the weekly trigger was mere cents from crossing, but was never able to get the crossover until very recently. In mid-November, we finally did get that crossover. And once you get that crossover, it means that GME is officially... Can I up my volume? Yes, I can. 1 second. Actually, I can't. It's on... let me know if this helps. Oil King, did that help? Did volume get higher? Let me know in the comments. Oil King. All right, perfect. I'll turn it up a drop more then. Okay, appreciate that. All right. So now the important point of the weekly trigger crossing above the monthly trigger is it means that now we are on the cusp or the launch pad of the Meltup. And so when we go back here, you can see, just exactly how this played out. Once the weekly trigger crossed above the monthly trigger, all subsequent dips down to the daily trigger were bought. Now, this happened to go a little bit steeper than I would have expected, but it got bought nonetheless. And then another pullback to the daily trigger, which got bought, and then we all know what happened next. And so we're setting up in the exact same fashion now. I'm not calling for price to move 3,600% from the bullish crossover like it did for this move, but realistically, I think 130 is a good baseline target for me to get out of my options. So that's like what I'm looking for. Of course, it can go higher. It can go much higher, but I'm not going to be greedy with this one. I've had my moments where I went up big on positions with options and got greedy in the past, and this time I'm definitely going to make sure not to make that kind of a mistake. So once I see like topping signals above 100, that's when I'll start to look to scale out of my options positions while holding my shares. So that makes sure that I guarantee profit. So now we got the bullish weekly trigger weekly trigger, monthly trigger crossover back here. Price pulled back, got bought up, price pulled back, and then the melt up started. So to me, anybody that's watched any of the streams or any of the videos, there's one thing that I've been saying very loudly in all the videos ever since this rally started. And the message is that more than likely there's going to be a pullback to daily trigger, and that's where I would like to YOLO everything that I can into GME, because once price pulls back to the daily trigger and the weekly trigger has crossed bullishly above the monthly trigger, all dips to the daily trigger are going to be bought, not even a question about it. Just like we saw back here. Once you get that bullish crossover, bulls are fully in control. The algo is ready to take it higher. And so what the algo does is it sits at the daily trigger. As you can see in these highlighted shaded regions, it sits here. And whenever price pulls back, that's where it gobbles up shares. And that's where it takes positions to the long side before sending it higher. And so today's pullback, in my opinion, was either this pullback that we saw back in December 15th, December 14th in 2020, or it's actually the pullback that we saw in the week of January 6th, meaning GME is probably in one of these spots right now. And the Roaring Kitty tweet, I mean, the timing was pretty good, not going to lie, but before that, in the Discord, when people were a little bit tripping out about the pullback, I gave the message loud and clear. Where was it? Right here. When GME was sitting at the daily trigger today, my message was, if you're getting bearish GME here, you're missing the boat of the triggers. This is exactly where the algo wants to buy. This is where it brings price down to scare out retail traders or, FOMO buyers or people that have FOMO'd into this rally. What the algo does is brings it down here. Then this downside move brings a lot of fear and doubt and uncertainty into the trade that retail traders are in, mixes with their emotions, but in reality, this is pretty much the lowest point it could bring it down. Like, trust me, if it wanted to, it would bring it all the way down here, but it can't. So it brings it down as much as it can, shakes out as much people as it can, and that's where it sends it up. So the Roaring Kitty tweet was a coincidence, in my opinion. I mean, either he's looking at the same stuff we are in a different way. If you're watching right now, what's good? But either he's looking at the same stuff and just not exactly triggers, but some other mechanism he's using, or, you know, it was just pure coincidence. I'm not exactly sure how to think of it, but, you know, this is exactly where I started buying today as soon as price hit the daily trigger. And for weeks, I told everybody, wait till price gets down to the daily trigger. There's no need to FOMO into this push higher, because with every Meltup that we've ever seen, and I showed examples from Tesla, and I showed examples from Wolf, and I showed examples from GameStop in 2020, and showed examples from AMC in 2021. You know, this was always going to happen, this pullback. I made it super clear in all my videos to expect this pullback. And so once this pullback came, it was a no-brainer to buy it, and that's pretty much what we were doing today in the Discord. Now, it was tricky with earnings coming up. Like I posted, if there was no earnings, this is exactly where I'd go all in. But with earnings, I didn't want to go too deep at, you know, with a highly volatile event coming up. But this was definitely the most opportune to buy GameStop, I think. And so if we look back now to 2020 and try to, you know, see a path that might come next, I do believe that today we had some kind of push like this. So I know everybody thinks, all right, maybe we can melt up right now. I don't think we're ready just yet. I actually think that more likely than not, we're going to be due for one more pullback. And I think this is what happened today. So we got that beautiful push higher. And I think we may see like some kind of sell-off over the next few days. So call it the rest of the week. And then late next week or early the week after, I think we might be ready to really ramp up. And so again, I'm not trying to compare exactly to 2020, because when you try to compare too exact, you run into trouble, and then things don't play out exactly, and you're like, wait, what's going on? Is this invalidated? Nothing's going to be invalidated at this point, because the weekly trigger already crossed the monthly trigger. And once that happened, you know, everyone that's watching the videos knew that the Meltup was starting. It just doesn't start immediately, just like we saw back in 2020. It still took another 4 or 5 weeks until things really started to fly. But once the weekly trigger crosses the monthly trigger, that's where the launch pad begins. And so the launch pad began here, and now subsequent pullbacks of the daily trigger are going to be bought and go higher until there's a, you know, break and hold above 30, and that's when FOMO traders and breakout traders will start to join the trade, and that's when a lot of attention will come back to GameStop, or Roaring Kitty might pull a publicity stunt. But regardless, this is exactly how Meltups begin. This is how Meltups start, and it's always been that way. So, and then for people saying that the GME Meltup is going to be in January, I think you're wrong. I think it's going to be December, because, you know, just looking back here, the halving event was in May in 2020, the 12th of May. It shouldn't be the 11th, but whatever. And so about 250 days later, that's when GameStop started its squeeze. So people think that it's going to happen exactly like here, and the squeeze will be in January. I don't think that's correct, because in 2024, the halving event was actually April 19th. And so April 19th, you minus 1 month, because it's April and then May. So May to January is the same as April to December. So I think the squeeze is setting up to be later in December. I think we're about, you know, maybe 2 weeks away from seeing that gigantic big candle higher. And so again, if this starts to sell off over the next like 5 days, right back to the daily trigger, that's actually a very good sign, because the more similarities we can have to 2020, the more we can nail down price action and give more exact estimates on when the Meltup will begin. So I think today we may have pulled something like this, and then that pop, maybe we go a little bit higher first before selling off. That wouldn't surprise me either. But I think we're destined for one more trip to the daily trigger before this thing starts melting up. And if you ask me right now, you know, gun to my head, when is the Meltup? I think it's going to be right around this volatility range. So right about 245 days after the halving. So I would say, you know, give Friday, December 20th, like 5 days before, 5 days after. So I guess anywhere between the 15th to the 25th is when I think GME will start to multiply in price. Now you guys all know from the beginning, I said my target for this move, somewhere about 130. That does not mean this will be the top, obviously. That does not mean the top will be at 130. But Gavin May, our, you know, Elliott Wave technician, you know, that's a good target from him. And so that's just where I'm looking to sell just my option shares I'm going to keep in case this gets wild. But I do think over the next 3-4 weeks or so, the whole move will already be over. Now, I didn't want to be too public with the dates beforehand because, you know, like when you start giving dates in the GME community, you guys all know what happens. But at this point, it seems pretty clear how this is about to play out. And so I'm willing to share what I think will happen over the next month. I think price will be over 100 before mid-January. Now, again, I could be wrong, and people are wrong all the time. And, you know, sometimes you just see a good setup and you take a shot. So that's what I'm doing here. I saw a good setup. You guys saw me buy a lot of shares today. You guys saw me buy 100K worth of shares last week at 30. 29.30. So those buys today were just, I knew that once we would get down to the daily trigger, there would be some kind of reaction. Now, did I guess that Roaring Kitty was going to tweet? No. But I knew that this was going to hold, and I knew that this would be the bounce. And so that's why this morning, you know, you saw me furiously buying shares. And like, I started off the morning, like buying 21.4K, just like good morning. Because I said I will continue to add to this position with price near the daily trigger. And so price was here. Once it got all the way down to the daily trigger, it was a no-brainer. And then a little bit later in the day, we just kept selling, and we got even closer to the daily trigger. So, you know, at 26.43, the daily trigger is at 26.57. Anything below the daily trigger is extremely discounted. So, yeah, that's what I think. As for options and you know, stuff like that, like I would say learn a bit about options before jumping into it. There's so much great educational material out there. If you'd like, you guys see the link on the bottom right, memestockwatch.com. You can use the code MELTUP in all capital letters, and that gives you a free month. And we have 10 1-hour videos of options educational material. So today's Thursday. If you get through that over the weekend and GME gets another pullback, you know, you'll be well versed in how to play this upside move. I don't want to sit here on YouTube online giving financial advice saying these are the options that I think are good or these options I think can work. But we do, you know, break it down very simply into 10 videos, watch them on 2x speed, and you can finish the whole thing in less than 5 hours. So if that does interest you, again, it's memestockwatch.com, the platinum plan. And the coupon is MELTUP in all capital letters. Now, there are other ways to play this as well. That's the truth. Like, you don't even have to buy options. Like for me, for example, and I got a lot of hate for this, which I don't really understand. Like I clearly have been buying a lot of GME stock for the MELTUP, but the thing is, if there are other ways to make money off of the MELTUP that aren't as volatile as buying options, and I don't want to sell the stock that I just bought, my question is, why would I not buy it and benefit off of the MELTUP? So again, options expire. Options have theta. So, you know, you could kind of get burned with options if you're not really quick. But again, if you're familiar with Solana, and again, like, if you don't like that I'm talking about this, no problem. That's on you. But I just want to reiterate that this coin doesn't have theta. So it can't expire. It can't. You know, it's held its floor for about 6 months already. And last time we saw GME do like a mini MELTUP, this thing ran 700% from the bottom. So that's kind of like the options return that you would get on a really good options win. And to be honest, if GME is about to melt up, then this coin is very likely going to do some crazy things over the coming months. So I don't think you could buy it on Coinbase, but what you could do is you could send Solana from your Coinbase wallet to your Phantom wallet. And then on Phantom, it's very easy to just make a quick switcheroo and switch Solana for GME coin. So this is one that I think is going to do really, really well on the Meltup. And you can see like it just moves like the stock. So for example, the stock today moved and the coin moved 60% from bottom to top, and now it's like at 36%. My point is that although this isn't connected to GameStop, if you own a big batch of shares and you're not trying to sell the shares, which is very understandable, like again, I just bought $140,000 worth of shares and I don't even plan on selling them. Maybe I'll sell covered calls once we get to a really high price, but I definitely am not looking to sell those shares. And so my question is, how do you want me to make money off the Meltup? Like I want to profit off this. I forecasted it for 6 months. I definitely want to profit off this. So I think the GME coin is a great option. And then I don't know if Gil's going to be on this. Nah, it's not. But yeah, let's go on Dex Screener. This is another good one. If you guys remember the Bowden meme, so it's basically like the same art. And again, this too, like GME moved today and this moved 56%. And yeah, I did see Ryan Cohen's brother-in-law tweet about this. But my point is, if you don't want to play options and you want to expose yourself to gains during the GME Meltup, then buying like these coins that are very related to GameStop, that move when GameStop moves, are going to do really well. Like if you look at Gil, if you zoom out, like the last time Roaring Kitty came back, this thing went bananas, right? It went up almost 1,000%. And now you're looking at a chart that didn't die. So this is very important in the psychology of trading. When you look at this chart, you see that it's been at about 50K market cap, or 100K market cap. Not sure I'm looking at. Yeah, I think like 100K market cap. What is this for 6 months? Yeah, 150 days. So this is a very, very strong coin because if it was going to die, it had 6 months to die. But from the fact that the coin range at 100K for 147 days tells you that the holders of this coin have been holding strong, and I doubt they're ready to sell for pennies. So again, if you don't want to play options, if you're not well versed in options, or if you're scared of options, there are other ways to make a decent profit on GME. So I guess this is my forecast to you guys. I never really wanted to do this publicly, but I do believe that this is what's shaping up to occur over the next month or so. I think, just like the last crypto halving, any time around that 247-day window from halving to Meltup seems right to me. I think it'll be something similar. Roaring Kitty coming back was just like a good... Yeah, by the way, I see a comment from Daisy is that GME on Sol actually heavily promotes the stock. Like you're looking at the same holder base. Like it isn't just a bunch of randos that hold the GME coin. Like it's hardcore GameStop holders that have been here for 4 years, and they also like the coin and they're involved with that too. This whole like shill FUD campaign that like you can't buy the coin if you own GME shares is so ridiculous. Money is money. Imagine being here for 4 years, getting ready to absolutely explode and melt up, and not making any money off of it. Like, how can you do that to your families? How can you do that to your bloodline? It's quite frankly embarrassing. And so, for all the folks out there watching that are like, why is he talking about these Solana coins? He's diverting buying power away from GameStop. It's ridiculous. It's quite frankly ridiculous. You got to make money somehow. And if you're not well versed in options or you're not quick with your timing, then you might miss it. And so these coins are, you could see just from what happened on today, like these coins pumped 60% each on a little tiny move from GameStop. Imagine when GameStop is trading above 50 or above 100 and the whole world's eyes is on GameStop, like this coin is extremely likely to blow up. The GME coin is extremely likely to blow up. Don't underestimate how much money is in the Solana ecosystem. Like this coin is 46.5 million right now. And Buck, the GME mascot coin, this went to 70 million overnight. If you think the GME coin can't go to 70 million overnight, like you're wrong. This can, and more than likely it will. So Again, it's just opportunities to make money. And if you can't handle that, I don't know what to tell you. All right, so someone wanted to know what are the topping signals you look for. So I've studied Meltups religiously, a lot of Meltups, and there are topping signals. I don't want to, go into them right now because especially a lot of you guys don't even have access to like the tools that we're using, so it doesn't make too much sense. But again, those videos that I was talking about before, they explain them very well. So if you would like to try out the free membership with the coupon code Meltup, then you'll see those 10 videos that explain the whole system, and you'll know what the topping signals are, and you'll know how to exit and not get crushed on the eventual downside. All right, guys, so let's open up for some questions. That was a half hour of me yapping. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys all know where I stand. I think we're in this little area right now and things are about to get extremely volatile, but I think more than likely there's going to be one last pullback to the daily trigger, one more opportunity to buy more, but that's not to say that we can't travel up more. I think we are probably here and not here. So maybe this move continues a little bit higher, but I think eventually there's going to be like one more sell-off. And then I think this candle is coming anytime within like the next 10, 15 days. And from there, the rest will accelerate quickly. All right. So if any of you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask away. And by the way, full disclosure, I own both of those coins and I'm bullish on them, and I think that they'll do extremely well when GME goes high. I also have GME shares. I also have GME options, but I do believe that GIL and the GME coin are great ways to capitalize on more upside in my Phantom wallet. How to use the Phantom wallet, full tutorial in our Discord, which you could sign up for a free month today, but I'm not going to go through 10-15 minutes of those steps right now on stream. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. Do you have price targets for the GME coin? Right now it's at 450 million. I think 45 million, sorry. I think it'll at least hit $1 billion, possibly 10 billion. So you're looking at a 20 to 60x on the GME coin. 2,000 to 6,000%, I believe. How much of each supply do you own? Negligible supply. Nothing that I can affect price with. Do you think there's a chance that buying gets turned off like 2021? That's a great question. I wouldn't say that there's no chance, but I would say that it's probably more unlikely than not that it does not get turned off. I don't think that's going to happen again. What else, guys? Where are you buying the coins? On Phantom Wallet. What invalidates the Meltup? Any break below the weekly trigger, I would say probably invalidates the Meltup. So if price loses 23 or so, then I'm probably wrong about this. What level do you think contract IV will be during the Meltup? High. Probably very, very, very high. Is liquidity an issue with the GME coin? No, definitely not. 5.6 million in liquidity. Zero issues you'll have with liquidity. Monthly time frame could be in a massive Elliott wave. Original Steez is wave 1. Last 3 years, wave 2. Starting the wave 3 up. Yep, that is very possible. So for those who are not sure what he's talking about, essentially, this whole move would be wave 1. And then this pullback would be wave 2. And now we start wave 3 to the thousands. So another 1, 2 would be 1, 2. And now we're starting wave 3 of 3, which is the strongest possible wave in Elliott waves. Again, think of the chart like this. Open up your mind a little bit to just how high this can go. We're thinking a classic Sunday YOLO update. I don't know. You're going to have to talk to Keith Gill about that. Talk about targets and previous references. Henrik Zeberg, previous targets. Yeah, so Henrik Zeberg, if you guys are unfamiliar, is one of the best macro analysts around. And he thinks that, if things get crazy enough, 2,000 is a possible target. So definitely keep that in mind. Strong Like Bull says, I follow Jackie Lee Tits and I'm in his Discord. I will say you're the only other GME trader that I respect and value your opinion. Thank you for giving a shit about retail. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, this move might go a little bit higher right now, but just keep in mind that, you know, there's still a possibility of one more pullback to the daily trigger. Maybe that happens on earnings, maybe not. But again, like I said, this is what I think is coming. So again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. It wouldn't be the first time, but I think we're looking at something like this. I'll even narrow this down. I think it's over before like the first week of January even ends. Oh, and by the way, the GME coin is getting listed on 2 big exchanges next week. So like, again, just trying to make you guys understand that this is like a legitimate coin. There's no like rugging or anything like that. Any chance you can post a U trigger check, James? Yeah, I can. I usually don't because I feel like that's like just for the Discord, but you did just pay me $5. So what am I going to do? Say no? Like that's kind of not a nice move. I've been calling for 40 for a while, and I'll show you why. The monthly trigger is sitting at 40, and so once you get a bullish 37 now, all right, so this was like a few months ago. You guys see this bullish daily trigger, weekly trigger crossover, so that means that price wants to head up to the monthly trigger. So more than likely, price is going to hit 37 at some point soon. What exchanges will it be listed on? Let me bring it up for you guys 1 second. It will be listed on, let me ask. Hold on 1 second. Just checking through the GME chat because it was posted earlier. Oh, Bitbase and Blowfin. What other questions you guys have? I got time today. You bought more at the Daily Trigger today. Thanks, J-Rock. Who is Decoding Kitty? Send me a DM on Discord. That's really funny. That's a good one. Do you think other memes like BlackBerry, Surrey, AMC, etc. are going to follow GME? Oh, absolutely. I think we're in for a meme parabola, essentially, very soon. Why did you only drop 40K? How foolish? Well, I mean, I don't have unlimited money. Is your plan to sell or the stock at the Meltup or hold GME for longer? All right, so good question. I do not plan on, oh, is Mark Ellis? Legend. I do not plan on selling any GameStop shares. What I do plan on doing is selling my options. Hopefully that'll be enough to make passive income for the rest of my life. And then maybe sell covered calls. Like let's say the stock gets to 150, just for example. So I would maybe sell covered calls and like half my shares for 200. And then if they get called away at 200, so be it. If not, then not. But I don't see myself selling any of the shares that I just bought or selling any of the shares that I own. I'd much rather make money off of Gil and the GME coin and some options and be able to keep my shares while knowing that I still made a profit off of a Meltup that I forecasted. I personally believe memes are going up before Christmas. I would say just around that time. If it goes to 150, I'm getting a flock of women on standby. I understand that. For me, I'm not really such a materialistic guy, and I'm married, thank God, with a kid. So I'd probably just keep the money in my brokerage and try to make passive income with it. What do you think about Bitcoin selling off as GME runs? Well, if you guys watched last stream, that's exactly what I was calling for. There's got to be some people in this chat right now that watched the last stream. Maybe I'll clip it on YouTube, although my editing skills are really bad. But basically, what I was showing on the last stream is very simple. So here was the Bitcoin previous all-time high. And then this is where Bitcoin broke all-time high after the halving in 2020. And after it broke the all-time high, there was a crazy upside move on Bitcoin, pulled back a bit, and then exploded higher. And during that pullback is when GameStop got sturdy. And so here we saw the exact same thing. Previous all-time high, price broke all-time high, exploded higher, pulled back a bit, and when it pulled back a bit, all of a sudden GME's getting sturdy. We are about to have a melt up on GME. Like, there's really no question or doubt in my mind anymore. There wasn't either before today, but there's really no doubt that this is about to get going. What stock passive income dividends do you like the best? I would actually be selling puts on stocks that I like for the long term, Michael Trump. That would be my strategy. I would not be looking to invest, but rather just sell puts. Which one will go higher based on your opinion between Jill and GME coin? So I would probably say I have 75% in GME coin because it's just a higher market cap, and then 25% in Gil. I would probably say Gil maybe could go higher because it's a lower market cap. So, and also like the Gil meme is really funny. Like it's like a Bowden type meme. So I could see that doing really, really well. Not gonna lie. But like both of them are good. I would just put more money in the GME coin simply because it's a higher market cap. That's it. Roaring Kitty tweeted, so that price did not close today under the 20-day on the daily chart. Look at that 27 or so price. It was set to close below. 20 day on the daily or the daily trigger, because when he tweeted, you can see that price was slipping like a drop below the daily trigger right here, and then it quickly got saved. So either what you just said or the daily trigger, regardless, he knows what he's doing. Good man, Roaring Kitty. It was a pretty good save. 20 SMA in the daily. Yeah. By the way, thank you for the $10. As you guys see on the bottom left of the screen, all proceeds from this stream go directly into GameStop stock pretty much immediately. Does the XRP fractal foretell potential GM moves like ETC does? No, I don't think so, but that's a great question actually. So, we just had this massive Ethereum Classic pop, and as you guys know, I've been saying for a while, GameStop follows right behind Ethereum Classic. So, in fact, I just told the Discord that this drop, I think it's right here. And you could see, nice, powerful push higher by Ethereum Classic. So, again, I'm not calling for like an immediate dip back down to the daily trigger. I just want everybody to keep in mind that after this pop, there may be another pullback to the daily trigger. Short Fridays says, oh, bro, that's $15 already. You could chill with that. I was down $22 on my AMC until he tweeted and netted you netted 68,000 profit on AMC, and you're only donating $15. Jeez, man, 68,000 profit. Nah, I'm just messing. I'll take it right into GME shares. But I'm very happy for you. That's an awesome win. I'm actually also in some AMC calls that did pretty well today. Look-see at Soon. Been watching the stock as eerily similar fractal to GME. Great call, Eric. I've also been watching Soon. Great call. Now, the thing is, you guys are kind of like, here he goes with another donation. Okay, 1 second, Short Fridays. And put all 642,000 on GME. Legend. I love that. I hit a big win on Mara and just dumped I'm not out of Mara yet, but I dumped a lot of it into GME. Okay, so Soon, I was looking at this other day. It's also in the Meltup orientation. So you see all long right here means that the daily trigger is on top of the weekly trigger on top of the monthly trigger. And Soon has the same thing. And it's, oh shit. Okay, when the stock was right here a couple of days ago, it bounced on the hourly trigger right here. and I was about to buy it. Oh my god, I'm so mad right now. I was about to buy it right here. 790. I remember this so clearly. So yeah, very possible GME is about to do something like this. And again, you guys are getting to see how these melt-up setups work. It's once you have the triggers in the all-long orientation here on the bottom right, where the weekly trigger crosses above the monthly trigger, it leads to this melt-up fractal where we're about to experience with GME in the coming days. F Wall Street, our turn to win. I agree. This is definitely our turn to win, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm not just excited for myself. To be really honest with you guys, like I love the GME community. I really do. I've been here forever. You guys know that. I'm a big fan, and I'm just really excited for this to take off for all of us. Like it's not just me that I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for all of us to win, and we all deserve to win. What's the probability percentage of GME failing to break the high of May? In my opinion, 0. We're going much higher than that. Do you think price will come back to 20 or settle higher? Great question. So I've spoken about this in the past. I think that GME, by the way, this type of price action is coming for GME. Mark my words. You know, this pullback to the daily trigger, same thing. The daily pullbacks to the daily trigger get bought, and then price starts popping, and then we pull back a bit. Where is that guy? Who was it? Eric Gonzalez. Great call, man. We're probably like right around here today, but this is definitely coming for GameStop. Can't imagine it's not. Such a beautiful chart, man. We're going so much higher. If the stock goes to 100, it would change my life forever. I think it'll change a lot of our lives. That's why I'm very excited about it. I think it'll change a lot of our lives, and I'm truly excited for the whole GME community to win. I'm sitting next to my dad, and he's considering buying GME. Explain why you think he should. I mean, I'm not really gonna like kind of give financial advice, but you guys know my opinion. I think GME is gonna melt up to like 100 very soon, and so if you believe that forecast, and if you've seen enough to internalize that forecast, then you guys can make your own decisions. But I definitely see something like this playing out very, very shortly here. What options you like for GME? So I'm not going to talk about that on the stream because I'm a little scared to, but what I will say is that you can use code MELTUP, all capital letters, join the platinum plan at memestockwatch.com, and we have a lot of videos, 10 videos going over like how to buy options in all different kinds of scenarios. Oh yeah, thank you, Donzi Trades. So after the melt up, I think price will drop to the weekly trigger. We'll take a look at Tesla from way back when. So this was the Tesla melt up. This is what I think GME is about to do. So it got the weekly trigger, monthly trigger crossover, and then it melted up from 22 to a high of 60. And then it pulled back to the monthly trigger and started a multi-year bull run. So I think GME is going to do the exact same thing. The only difference I would say is that instead of pulling back to the monthly trigger, I think it's going to pull back to the weekly trigger. So melt up, pull back to the weekly trigger, and then start a multi-year bull run to the upside. Seeing my contracts go 1,000% plus would send me through a wall. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't it do that for, you know? That's a very exciting thing to have your options go up 1,000%. Do you think AMC can hit $15-20 if GME is melting to 100 to 130? Yes, I do. Earnings dip to the daily trigger, then pop. Very, very possible, LGH. Very possible. I definitely see that possibility. Do you think AMC rallies alongside? Yes, I do. Do you think it'll be worth to swing trade stocks on the way to 100 or rather hold on for dear life? I'm holding on for dear life. I'm going to wait till price gets above 100, and then as soon as I see topping signals, I'm going to exit my options. Whether it's 130, whether it's a bit higher, doesn't matter much to me. Do you think the run will happen during pre-aftermarket? I think that very likely a lot of the run will happen during pre-market and post-market, but not all of it. You know, a lot of it's definitely going to happen in regular market. Do you think GME can go to like a couple of thousands per share? Not immediately, but it's very possible. I mean, again, this is the melt up that I'm calling for. And then after the retracement, I think GameStop is going to go on a multi-year bull run, just like Tesla did, as Ryan Cohn completely transforms the company. So yeah, I mean, I definitely could see thousands coming for GameStop. 130 is their personal target. Yeah, that's just where I want to get out of my options. Not saying it can't go much higher, but you think there's a serious retracement if GME hits 130? I think it'll look like this. Hits 130, pulls back to the weekly trigger, and then starts a multi-year uptrend. But again, you know, I can't see the future. That's just what I could see happening right now. To me, that's like most likely. Where do you think the retracement will bottom and which time frame? I think it'll bottom on the weekly trigger, wherever the weekly trigger is after the melt up. So let's just say price melts up to 130. So the weekly trigger will do something like this, where it'll like start to climb very steeply. Let's say it gets to like 40 post melt up. So you do something like that, and then comes down to the weekly trigger, and then that's the bottom, and then it starts like a uptrend for like 3 years, 2 years, something like that. Well, we don't know what the retracement level is to the weekly trigger yet, because we have to wait for price to go up, and then the weekly trigger will start to climb, and then we'll know. Like if you look back here, after the GME squeeze, price came back down to the weekly trigger, and then, you know, kept bouncing. Now it happens to be it broke below on a major market crash. This is when SPY topped and things got really bad in the whole market. But after the melt up, I would expect it to come down to the weekly trigger, and you can see the weekly trigger can jump a lot during these melt ups. GME on Sol way forward. I'm not sure what you mean by way forward. Will you still be around after the melt up? Very unlikely, man. Very, very unlikely. I had a kid 5 months ago, and I've been really, really locked in on this opportunity with crypto and GameStop, and I haven't been giving my family my full undivided attention like they deserve. And so I think once this wraps up and I'm out of my options positions, I'm probably going to take a nice little break, spend time with family. Like I'll still be around. I'm not going to disappear, but I definitely will not be tweeting like I'm doing now or anything of the sort. Thank you, Herbish Logic. I appreciate that. He is a beautiful kid. Low key, we named him Keith, by the way. Call me crazy, but I'm saying Roaring Kitty kind of changed my life, and probably a lot of our lives are about to be changed, and so it only felt right. We also had him right after that May pump. We had him in June, so it was just like fresh in my mind. Like I just watched 100 of his meme videos, so yeah, of course we named our kid Keith Rowland. I am changing all the diapers, JR. Don't get me wrong. I change all the diapers as long as they're not during market hours. Yeah, Bold, fully locked in. What happens to the Discord after the melt up? Nothing, man. Discord's going to be awesome after the melt up. We're just going to focus on more passive investing and growing the capital made from the melt up instead of keep taking risky trades that make my hair turn white. Your kid's name sounds like Rolling Stone. Keith Rowland. Yeah, I hear you. We ripping tomorrow? I mean, very possible. I'm gonna have to like kind of check our options data later from Bruce Naked Delta, but we'll see. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all you guys. It's been nearly an hour. So to summarize, I think the GME melt up has been underway for a couple of weeks, but now we get to the part of the melt up where the stock goes vertical. I think anytime between like 10, 20 days is when we'll see things start to kick off, and when we'll get like this kind of candle that we had here back in 2020, this big one. I'm looking for this big candle to come anywhere between the next 10, 20 days. Not going to be exact, and I'm not trying to be. And I'm not trying to pick up pennies in front of a freight train. So this is what I see coming. We're about to find out if it's right or not. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me through all this. I know this was a really boring and unmotivating time, but we got through the worst of it. We're about to enter the most exciting part of the entire Jamie saga, and you know, shit's gonna get really, really fun soon. I'm not gonna lie. This is about to get really fun, and once in a lifetime opportunity here to really capitalize on gains, sell options, or make a lot of money on the GME coin on Sol or the Gil coin. And then, yeah, GME coin on Sol will probably do 10 billion. So it's like, what is that? 20x. You could get like literally like a 300,000% gain on the GME coin on Sol, I believe. I really believe it's going to be like the number one coin on Solana when GME starts to melt up. But either way, the goal here is to make money on this melt up and then use those funds to make passive income forever. So you don't have to work. You could just, make 10K passive income per month in the stock market and use that to survive, and also grow your portfolio so that the next year you can make 12K, and the next year you can make 15K, and the next year you can make 20K, etc., etc. Thank you, Southpaw. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a fun ride. It's been 4 years. I think we're ready to get out of our misery, and finally time to reap the rewards. Yes, Ruby. There is a way to put the triggers on your trading view. memestockwatch.com, platinum plan, use code MELTUP in all capital letters. And that's all. Thank you all. Really appreciate everybody. If you like the stream, feel free to give it a like. My YouTube guy always tells me that I have to say that on the streams. 10 billion impossible, dude. 1 billion is hard enough. We'll see, man. We'll see. Don't underestimate how viral GME can go. Do you swap to Sol or BTC or ETH? When GME coin tops, very important, by the way, when GME tops right now on this move, I think it'll mark the top of the whole market. So I'm definitely going to put it into cash. Yeah, I see the same thing for AMC. Moonboo. I think they'll move together like they always do. All right, fam. It's been real. Have a good one, everyone. You could always DM me on Twitter or in the Discord if you have any questions. And yeah, I'm going to keep bull posting until this is over. So let's get it, guys.